So yeah, immediately we're moving into the session where we invite our founder to address us and to welcome us before we call on our speaker for tonight. So if your hands are not too busy, I would like you to join me to welcome this valuable and phenomenal woman. I am super elated and delighted to be doing this. So I want you to welcome her like a royalty that she is. I always say that she's a royalty. So could you please jam your hands together in the comment section, drop your fire emojis, make some noise. Come on, come on, come on. Jam those hands together, even as we welcome Mrs. Bumi Omeke on stage. You are welcome, ma'am. We love you, and we're so glad to have you. You can now have the stage. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. It's a beautiful thing to be here with you. I could have chosen to spend my weekend somewhere else with a different kind of people, considering the environment I am. I would have chosen to also sleep, take a very deep nap. I would have chosen to play with my babies, but I chose to be here. And that's because you're amazing. That's because you are part of my purpose. You are part of my fulfillment in the surface of the earth. You are part of the reason God made me, God created me. I'm created to impact your lives. I'm created to ensure that every path that I've walked through and you're walking through is make easier, easiest for you. That is the reason why I'm created. And I want to thank you for sharing in this purpose. I want to thank you very much for sharing in this purpose. I want to thank you for seeing a reason, to improve yourselves as graduates, young graduates, new career paths, workers, new hires in the workplace, maybe some experiences, some workplace experiences, pleasant and unpleasant ones, but you've decided to join this session to learn, to relearn, and to unlearn. It is a beautiful thing. There is no knowledge that is lost. I said this from the beginning of this session. There is no knowledge that is lost. Every knowledge that you acquire is for a purpose that you might not even know. Is basically preparing you for something that you might not even be aware of. I have a lot of life experiences in my little career life. I call it little because I have those who are mentoring me. I have those I still look up to. It just never ends. It's a chain. As I'm mentoring others, I have those who I call my mentors. And I am given to a life of mentorship and a life of leadership. So when I say both, my leadership is a mentorship style. I believe that as I'm going up, it is my responsibility to pull other people up with me. When people say it is lonely at the top, I tell them it is lonely at the top because of how you walked to the top, how you got to the top. It is not lonely at the top. I beg to disagree. It is beautiful at the top. It depends on how you have walked your journey to the top. And this is what I tell my mentees. This is a kind of mentality I would always drive home. The more people, the more lives you impact without expecting anything in return, the more successful you will be. The more you live a life of sharing and giving, the more you will receive. Do not think that it makes you better or relevant at any point when you withhold assistance or help or information that you are meant to share with others. It doesn't make you better. At the end of the day, everything that goes around in the world, everything that goes around us, everything that comes to you is because somebody shared it. If the person kept it to themselves, you won't have it. So this is my underlying principle in the way I live life. I don't ever have anything that I can't share. There's nothing I have that I can't share. Well, maybe my babies, I can't share my babies with you. But there's nothing, I can't share my husband with you too. But aside from that, to be serious, there's nothing in terms of experience, in terms of my money, in terms of material things, in terms of the gospel, the word of God. I'm a strong believer, of Christ. I'm a strong believer. I wouldn't even use that word Christian loosely. Christian to some people means religion, but for me, it is beyond religion. It is spirituality. I'm very connected to God. I'm very connected to Jesus Christ. I know his teachings. I understand his teachings, and I'm inspired by his teachings, because Jesus Christ spent a life of giving. Even the Muslims among us, they recognize Jesus Christ. That is how important that man was. That was how great he was as a prophet to them. He spent a life of giving, and he spent a life of sacrifice. And, you know, it distinguishes him. If he spent just like 3 years on earth with a lot of impact. Even people who have spent 900, 200 years on earth did not make as much impact as Jesus Christ made. So is always my that's always my first example. Then cascading to my mentors, you know, I'm always impressed. I'm always, if you want to impress me, just be a selfless person. You know, I'm still going to say something about the compare Oyilola. She's a great woman, and I know she's cannot be anything less of greatness. I know what I'm saying. She's been so sacrificial towards this session. I know the struggles, how difficult it was. She was in NYC camp when I called upon her that, you know, you have to lead this section, because I saw this greatness, I saw this talent in her that just needs to show up. And also my dream partners, they are right here, they can hear me. You know, these are the things I tell them about, you know, if you want to be great, just show up, show up. Show up, be of help to people, be of assistance to people. That's the surest way to greatness. I've said a lot. I don't just want to get into the conventional introduction. I believe we all know what GETWORK Nigeria is all about. And I will start with a little story. How did GETWORK Nigeria come to play? Why are we so passionate about this? Why are we organizing free sessions? For crying out loud, people pay for this kind of sessions. In the last session we had last Sunday, people came in to learn about Microsoft Excel. We gave them assignments, we gave them materials. People paid to actually have access to this kind of session, but we tried to do it for free. What's the motivation? In this world that everybody is running towards money, dollars, pounds, why are we doing this kind of things for free? Does it even make sense? Why can't we put a money to it? In fact, some people are not, I'm saying these things based on the feedback I get from some people, you know. Why some people are not so serious about the attendance, because it's free. Anything that is free, they don't take seriously. We don't care. And I'll tell you, why are we persistent? Why have we been persistent over the years? How did GETWORK Nigeria come about? I was sitting in my office. I was a co-manager of a school owned by the co-founder. You all know her. I'm sure you've all been seeing her, the patron, Miss Yetunde Ajibade. I was sitting in my office, a part of the school, and we were trying to interview to recruit teachers for the school, because it's a Montessori school, a very special kind of learning. We don't have a lot of tutors in that, many tutors in that area. And so we reached out to some companies. I don't want to mention brand names here. We reached out to some companies who are into recruitment, and they just kept sending us resumes, conventional ones. They kept sending us CVs. They kept sending us, you know, cover letters from these people, and they kept streamlining. Oh, I think this is the best for what you want. Please invite them for interview. And we got more than 100 applications. I think I can use that to actually qualify the number of applications. I know we got more than 100. I don't want to exaggerate. But at the end of the day, we streamlined to having 13 people for interviews, because when we looked at the rest, starting from the application process, it was nothing to write home about. The emailing, sending us emails, sending us cover letters, the language, we're thinking, are these the kind of people that will impact our children? Your children are my children, you know. The resumes were nothing to write home about, a lot of typographical errors. They don't even know how to compose or put together a simple resume or CV. Out of over 100 applicants, we could only get not up to 20. And we got up to 20 of them. We had to streamline again. Okay, so let's interview these people. The first 5 interviews were awful. And they are from graduates in Nigeria. Some of them are graduates in education, not NCE. Some of them even had experience. They had work experience. In fact, many of them had work experience because we needed teachers with some kind of experience, up to 2 years experience. But the interview was helpful. I'm not saying this to degrade graduates in Nigeria. Might be the kind of graduates that we got. But then again, looking at the number, of people that applied, and in comparison to the number we're able to filter out, and in comparison with the numbers that did well at the interview, it said a lot of things without us, needing to make comments. It's just like what they say in law, res ipsa loquitur. The fact speaks for itself. And so this created a serious burden in my heart. I'm like, is this how we're going to continue? This is a small school in Lekki Phase 1. What is going on in the big schools? It took me to take a school tour. I actually take a school tour. Like, when parents put their pupils, their children, their words in school, they just assume, oh, it's a big man's school. They are paying so amount of money. They don't even care to know who their teachers of their children are. I tell you, if you know the quality of teachers in our school, the reason why our educational system, or, this kind of things that we see is not far-fetched, So it's made me to take a school tour and see what is going on in other schools. How are they getting their teachers? What's going on? What kind of teachers are teaching their... And I don't want to talk about the shocking revelation. Anyway, this brought a burden in my heart. And I'm like, we need to start from here. The people teaching our people teaching our children. Because whether you like it or not, the kind of English you speak, the way you express yourself, your life skills, the kind of school you went to, the kind of primary school, most especially, is reflected. That's the truth. I can say that even from a personal experience, yeah, it shows the kind of environment you grew up, the way you express yourself, the way you communicate, the way you speak this English that is our borrowed language, yeah, but our lingua franca. The way you speak it, it shows the kind of background that you have, the kind of teacher that taught you English, the kind of teacher that, helped you, in your primary school, secondary school, and all that. So if that is the foundation, then it's something we must address. So the name GETWORK Nigeria came as an inspiration. GETWORK and GETWORK properly, aligning the right people to the right jobs, helping graduates achieve excellence in the workplace, helping them prepare, not just because there's different stage in being on the right job, right? There's a preparation phase. You prepare. And preparation starts from when you are in the university. Preparation starts from when you begin to realize your career goals. This is where I'm going. This is the profession. This is what I want to do. That's when you start preparing. There's a lot of life skills, work skills, life skills that is expected out there beyond your certificates. Certificate is just not enough. That is what that moment told me. It's not enough. Some of these teachers, some of these people we interviewed, they finished with 2-1. Even the ones that we felt did better than the others, we still had higher expectation. Because if you finish with a first class, you finish with a 2-1, there's a higher expectation in terms of life skills, in terms of presentation skills, computer skills, how you package your CV. You should be good with those things. That's the assumption, but that's not the case. So we discovered that there's a gap between when people graduate from school, their expectations in passing the examinations, and the workplace. There's a huge gap. People are not just prepared. And it's not their fault because they don't have maybe access to information, access to knowledge, access to how to acquire these skills and all these kind of things. And we said, you know what? Let's GETWORK Nigeria provide a platform. While we're liaising with the employers of labor, we do recruitment on the side. We try to align, the right people to the right job. We also work on mentoring these young graduates. We work on training. We work on leadership because there are some of you that come out of school, you are ready for leadership. I tell you, leadership is not tied to age. There's a lot of things attached to leadership. Some of you are ready, preparing you already. Like Oyin is doing. Oyin just finished youth service, and she leads a lot of sessions, So there are some people that have those talents, and we felt this platform can help young graduates to become the star that they want to be. Now, talking about why is it free? We can collect money for these things. There are people collecting money for trainings online and all these things. But our reason for this initiative is impact. It's not meant for everybody. That's it. So that issue of, oh, people taking it for granted because they're not paying for it, we don't care. We don't care because we are raising outstanding graduates. We are raising graduates that will be sought after. We are raising graduates that will move on to boards of companies, that will move on to jurisdictions, and they will say, I am a product of GETWORK Nigeria. That's what that's the big picture. It's not about the now. We are looking at graduates that will hold their hands. And when we get an opportunity with an international organization, we get an opportunity with even organizations, big organizations in Nigeria, we can hold their hands and say, you know what, this is the person you need for the job. Those are the kind of graduates we are raising. We are not for every graduate in Nigeria. We are for outstanding, please type in the comment section, outstanding graduates. I am an outstanding graduate. And GETWORK Nigeria is for me. Please type it. Let it sink. I want this to sink. This is not a conventional opening session. I am an outstanding graduate, and GETWORK Nigeria is meant for me. However you want to rephrase it, but I want it to sink. Please. I want to see that. I want to see that vibe. Before we go into the session, before we get Oyinlola to introduce the guest speaker has been here since 4:30. Oh God, I feel like speaking in tongues. You don't even know. I feel like speaking in tongues. Like, we've never had it this way. He's been here since 4:30. He's signed in since 4:30. You don't know what you are in for. If you are here, count yourself one of the most favored. I don't like to use luck. It's not luck. You worked for it. You set aside everything in this life and you said, you know what? I have to be here. That's the reason why you're here. So count yourself favored. Count yourself, I don't know the word to use. Somebody should help me with that word. I don't want to say lucky. You're not lucky. Lucky is like something just fell on you. You worked for it. You know, count yourself great. See yourself as greatness personified. And I mean it. If you are here with me today and your name is going to be on our database, I'm not leaving you. Me, Bumi, Jasmine Omeke, I'm not going to leave you. If you leave me, that's fine. But me, I'm not going to leave you. And GETWORK Nigeria is not going to leave you. That's the promise. That is the promise. And we're not scared of numbers. You can invite your friends. The same thing you benefit, the same effort you put into, you know, the program, learning and unlearning, if it's commensurate with the effort another person is making, you will get the same results. You will get the same results. I can promise you that. There's no favoritism anywhere. With us, it is fair play. We've had GETWORK Nigeria testimonies from different GETWORK Nigeria alumni are here. And I tell you, they are going to give their testimony at the end of this session. Maybe that will inspire you more. But GETWORK Nigeria is a life impact. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay forever. Even if we have 10 graduates stay with us, or even 6, or even 1, it's here to stay forever. I promise you that. Yes, I'm an outstanding graduate, and GETWORK Nigeria is meant for me. Yes. So thank you very much. And thank you for staying with us to the end of this session. Today is the grand finale. I remain yours truly, Bumi Jasmine Omeke. Let me also tell you a secret. Iya Beji of Canada, twin mom of Canada. Yeah, we'll share that. You will learn more about me. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow me on our social media pages. GETWORK Nigeria. That's all you need to do. You can follow me on my LinkedIn. My name on LinkedIn is Bumi Jasmine Omeke, and I'm waiting to connect with you professionally. Over to you, Oyinlola, as we introduce the guest speaker for the day.
Energy this evening, the energy. Somebody shout energy in the comment section. Thank you very much for that beautiful opening session. I mean, I believe that everyone is pumped up already and everyone is set. In fact, I can't even wait to introduce our speaker for this evening. Before I introduce our speaker, I would read his bio out and then we would celebrate him. You know, that's our culture here. We celebrate our speakers. But I just want to say something quickly. You see, in this dynamic landscape of today's professional arena, you would agree with me that cultivating emotional intelligence is not just a skill, but it's a necessity. I have been opportune to work in a few places, and I can tell the difference between people who have developed emotional opportunities compared to people who don't even understand what it is. So this evening, our distinguished speaker, the person of Mr. Leslie George, will be bringing his wealth of experience and insights. And I'm sure that this wealth of experience and insight will reshape our perspectives on how emotional intelligence can positively influence the success and well-being of new hires. So I implore you this evening, I implore each one of you to lend your ears attentively, even as we delve into this heart-to-heart discussion. It goes beyond the surface. It is going to emphasize the profound importance of emotional intelligence in fostering a harmonious and thriving work environments. Today, we are privileged to have a distinguished speaker in our midst, a thought leader in the realm of emotional intelligence. But before we celebrate him, I would like to read this beautiful bio to your earrings. So Mr. Leslie George has worked as a trainer, facilitator, consultant, and advisor for over 19 years in pertinent areas of human resources and business management. Is a skilled and driven professional who has a strong hold on applications of the working knowledge of human resource practices. He adapts theories to functional tools in business enhancement situations. Mr. Leslie specializes in setting up the mechanisms and processes to make human resource and business management functional business tools. In other words, how to make human resource and business management formidable business success partners. Having worked in the field of skills delivery, he understands the best way to utilize tools for excellent results. For well over a decade, he has driven the business of companies and individuals by helping them learn how to adapt their workforce to the changing demands of the ever-changing corporate environment. In addition to having worked as a human resource and management consultant, he has held the position of head manpower development and group head, human resources. He has offered services including facilitating trainings and advisories for various organizations such as Union Registrars, First Bank, Nigeria Schools Conference, Media International Limited, United States Agency for International Development, Office of Transition Initiative, Access Bank, Federal Government of Nigeria, Nigerian Port Authority, Federal Inland Revenue Service. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's not part of the bill, sorry. Leadway Assurance, Credit Direct Limited, Gas Tunneling Limited, Champion Breweries PLC, Inagbe Resort, Lagos Bus Limited, Keystone Bank, China, Europe International Business School, and Lagos State Government, amongst others. Oh my God. Oh my God. Without further ado, can we please jam our hands together and make some noise in the comment section and rise on our feet virtually, even as we welcome Mr. Leslie George to the stage with the anticipation and eagerness that befits the significance of the wisdom he is about to share. Please, can you make some noise in the comment section? Can you type in the comment section, "You're welcome, sir," and we're happy to have you. I would like you to type that in the comment section. You are welcome, sir. We're happy to have you. Sir, before you speak, I would like to commend your punctuality. I was really amazed to see you show up very early for this session. That's like an admirable attribute, and I honor you for that, sir. Thank you very much. You're welcome. The stage is yours now.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes, sir, we can, sir.
We can hear
Okay.
you.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Beautiful. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So, good evening. My name is evening. Yeah, my name is Leslie George, and she read out my bio. Every time I hear that thing, I'm thinking in my mind, "Wow, is that me?" But I guess it is. So today we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, and a lot of times, for a lot of people, it's one of those things that we hear a lot in corporate Nigeria, and not just corporate Nigeria really, but we hear it a lot. Corporate emotional intelligence, and everybody's talking about this, talking about that. Oh, you're not emotionally intelligent and all that. But what does it mean? What does it mean, especially for people who are new to a work environment? What exactly is it for you? What kind of tool is it? Okay, and I'm going to try and break it down, but there's a slide here. Can I share my slide?
Yes, sir.
I can. Okay. All right. So I have a slide here that I would like to share.
Can you make it move?
All right, I'm making a move.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So all right. So here is a definition for emotional intelligence. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this and then I'm going to elaborate. So I would like you to please pay attention. So emotional intelligence, your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. Please note, your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others. Now, a lot of times we talk about how we feel, okay? And a lot of people within the, should I say, younger generation, we talk a lot about our feelings and how valid our feelings are and all that. Let me say something about the corporate environment and how you feel. The truth of the matter is this: the corporate environment really doesn't care how you feel. It's not tuned to how you feel. It's tuned to you as a human being, as an individual, but it's not about how you feel. A lot of times we talk about emotions and why is it important? Why exactly is the emotions that I'm experiencing, why is it important? Let me explain that so that you know, because a lot of times we don't pay attention to this. How you feel is what will determine how you behave. It's what will determine the choices that you will make. It is what spurs your actions, your emotions. The way you feel is what determines the actions you will take. That is why when we talk to people about anything, we're trying very hard to rouse emotions in them, because we know that if they feel a certain way, they will move in a certain direction. That is why we do all those kind of things where you're trying to get a person to be emotionally connected or committed to something. Because once you start to feel that way, you're going to act in a certain way, in a particular way. And that's how that is. And it's a natural thing. Your emotions, the way you feel, will always determine how you do whatever you do and what you choose to do. If you are a person who is new in a business environment, in a corporate environment, in an organization, maybe it's a new job, whatever it is, you see, you're going to have to ask yourself, would it be advantageous for me to follow my feelings? You hear that thing that people say when they say, how you feel, like I said earlier, your feelings are valid. Yeah, your feelings are valid, but they're valid for you. They're not valid for every situation that you find yourself in. When you are in the corporate organization, you have to ask yourself a few questions. And one of them is, what are the things that should determine the actions I take? What are the things that should determine the decisions I make, my choices? What are the things that should determine the direction I go in? You should ask yourself those questions, because a lot of times we're telling ourselves that if I feel that way, that's what I'm going to do. But you can't live like that. Forget corporate world. You cannot live like that in this world, that you're following how you feel. You can't. You need to be able to regulate how you feel to the situation, to your needs, and to what is advantageous for you. That's what it means. when we talk about you being emotionally intelligent, it means that you can actually recognize how you feel and understand those emotions and understand what it would mean for you in the situation you find yourself. Take, for example, whoever it is, your line manager, your supervisor, your boss, says something to you that is really upsetting or annoying or whatever it is, and maybe it's rude and all that. What would be your immediate response? Do you know that at that point you actually think about it? Yeah, I feel angry. I want to tell this guy my mind. I want to give him a piece of my mind, but you do not do that. The reason you don't do that is because you realize that it will not be advantageous for you. You realize that it will not be in your best interest. In that particular situation, you're being emotionally intelligent, recognizing your emotion, understanding what it is, and understanding what it would mean if you were going to follow it. That is being emotionally intelligent. But then that's you. What of somebody else? What of other people? You see, if you've ever said, let me see, if you've ever said something like, I don't care what people think about me, I don't care what they feel, well, it's a big problem, because if you're in a corporate environment, you should care. It should matter to you. But why should it matter to you what somebody else thinks or what somebody else feels? Let me say this thing to you now so that you will take this with you and think it as you do whatever it is you're doing. We help the people that we like. That's a human thing. The people that we like are the people that we help. It has to be that you are probably one person who listens to God or listens to religious injunction for you to do otherwise, because the human behavior is simple. We help the people we like. But here's the thing, it's not just the people it's not just that. It's the fact that in any organization that you're in, the people who stand with you, the way they relate with you, the people that connect with you or that actually are in that environment with you, whether they like you or see, it is how they think about you that will determine how they will act or relate with you. It's how you think about a person, how you feel about a person that will determine whether you will be close to that person, whether you will be friends to that person, whether you will want to help that person if that person were in a certain situation. It's how people feel about you that will determine whether they will be close to you, whether they will be in a close or in a far or in a distance relationship from you. It's how they feel. Your relationship with people in any way, within any context, is dependent on how they feel about you and what they think about you. So when you say something like, I don't care what anybody thinks about me or what anybody feels about me, we first have to ask, have you given them reason to feel that way? Are you the one that has given them reason to feel that way towards you? Or are you the one who has given them reason to think of you in that way? For example, somebody says that I don't even like this Bumi girl. What is even wrong with her? And then Bumi goes on to say that I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. The problem is, it's not what I think or what I say. It's what you have done. When you've established that, okay, I have not done anything to inspire this feeling, this, whether it is hatred or whether it is dislike or whatever it is, you have to establish that you have not done anything to inspire it. At that point, you can say, well, I don't care what they think, because now you know that you didn't do anything to make them dislike you or to make them feel that way towards you. But if your behavior, if your actions, if your choices, if your decisions have actually put you in bad light with other people and they don't like you, that's your fault. That's something you have done. That's something you have done. The reason we always should be concerned whether a person if a person says, I don't like you, or a person doesn't like you, or whatever it is is you need to establish if it is something you have done. If it is something you have done that is making them feel that way, then you can address it and then you can correct it. It may be that it's a misconception. It may not be based on truth. If it is that kind of thing where, oh, they misunderstood you and all that, then you can address it and correct it. But then, if it is the fact that you are one person that is making yourself not likable at all, and you are that kind of person that is saying, I don't care what you think, you're going to have a lot of troubles, especially if you are new to that particular place of business. You're going to have a lot of issues. So what am I saying? I'm saying that you must be able to recognize your emotions, your feelings, how you feel, and understand the emotions and its ramifications. If I exercise and follow this particular feeling, what will it turn out to be? How will it end? What are the things that may happen because of how I have expressed myself? You know, we're all free agents, right? All of us were free agents. We can do whatever it is we want. We can say whatever it is we feel like saying. But how many of those things that we feel like saying, or how many of those things we want to say will be advantageous for us? You notice I keep saying advantageous because your actions, your decisions, your choices, your words, and your choice of phrasing should always be something that gives you an advantage, something that gives you leverage. You don't put your feelings first. You put whatever it is that matters to you the most first. It's not how you feel. It's like saying that you need to work because if you don't work, you will starve to death. And then you're saying that I don't feel like working. The option will be to starve to death. Is starving to death is starving to death to your own advantage? Is it to your benefit? No, it's not. So you're going to forget how you feel about work and clench your teeth and do it because your feelings don't come first. And you get what I'm saying? Your feelings do not come first. Always remember that. Every time we talk about emotional intelligence, these are the kind of things that we need people to understand. Do not sabotage your life. Do not sabotage your opportunities. Do not sabotage whatever advantage you have simply because you're telling yourself, this is how I feel. No. There are lots of people who feel a certain way, but they keep their mouth shut and they hold to what will be of advantage to them. If something is against your own personal values, that's a different matter altogether. But if it isn't, you have to ask yourself within that situation, what is to my benefit in this thing? How do I respond to this person that has said this kind of thing to me? Somebody walks up to you and says, I don't like you. How do you respond? Your response is never, I don't care, or I don't like you either. No, that's not your response. Your response is one that acts like, really? Why? I don't understand. What have I done to deserve dislike from you? And you're asking it sincerely. The reason you're asking it sincerely is because you need to know if it is something you've done, if it's a mistake, you can correct it. That is important. People recognize people who are emotionally intelligent. People recognize people who can control their emotions and put their emotions under check. People recognize those people. And for what it's worth, they respect you. You're angry. The normal thing is to express your anger. But if you're the kind of person that can actually check that because it's not to your advantage, you're a smart person. That is why we describe it as being emotionally intelligent. What is it that this particular feeling, this particular emotion, being able to control and regulate it, what will it do for you? Okay? So, your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. Let me say something about behavior. I say this to a lot of young people because you know how we are today in this world. We tend to feel like we can do and say whatever it is. We should be able to just speak up, okay? If I think it, I should say it. If I feel it, I should say it. Well, think about behavior. Behavior is not fixed. Behavior is never fixed for any human being. Let me explain. Behavior is not, you know, when you say something like, let me see, like you say, oh, this person has bad behavior. Oh, his behavior is very bad. Oh, his behavior is horrible, and all that. Behavior is not fixed. When you say that kind of thing about a person, it's how that person chooses to behave. It's not because, oh, that's his character. Character is a different thing. See, behavior is not fixed, which is why when you're with your mom, you behave differently from when you're with your dad. And you behave differently from when you're with your siblings. And you behave differently from when you're with your friends. And you behave differently from when you're in church. And you behave differently from when you're at work. And you behave differently from when you're in some public place. You know why? Because our behavior is always fashioned to whatever situation we find ourselves in. The situation will determine how we behave. If you see any human being who behaves the same way everywhere they are, there's something that's not right with the person. Something seriously not right. You know why? Because we always look at the situation. We always look at the circumstance to determine how we should behave. That is emotional intelligence. You are thinking, and you should always think. You should always think. So, your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use this awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. See that? Now, your success in an organization, in a business, in a particular business, is dependent on the kind of relationships, the quality and the nature of the relationships you can cultivate. One thing is technical competence, skills. That's one thing. Skills, I can do this, I have knowledge and all that. That's one thing. Another thing is behavior. Every competence within an organization, within any job, is divided into technical and behavioral. Every competence divided into technical competence and behavioral competence. In other words, every job role is looking at two things. It's looking at the technical ability that you have, and it's looking at your behavioral predisposition, or disposition in this case. It's looking at the two things. What you know how to do, what skills you have, the competence that you have, and then your behavior. If you do not know how to regulate your behavior the way you should, you're going to have a lot of problems. Relationships are the basis for you actually thriving within an organization. It's not just your skills. If you're good at something, we see that you're good at something, but then we ask, how does he behave? Why is he talking to people like that? Why is he behaving like that? Why is he such a difficult person? What, that kind of thing. Because if we're looking for somebody to do something within an organization, we look at the person who's competent, but at the same time, we look for a person who is a behavioral fit. Remember that. We look for a person who is a behavioral fit, somebody who is easy to talk to, somebody who is honest to themselves and honest to you. But then you see, me being honest to myself is me asking myself, if I behave a certain way, how is it going to help me achieve the reason I'm here? If it doesn't help me achieve the reason I'm here, then I'm not being honest with myself. I'm self-sabotaging. If I'm always wanting to prove something to people, always wanting to show people that I am better than they are, I'm self-sabotaging. I'm not helping myself. I'm not acting in my own best interest. Let me say this, you don't have anything to prove except what you are, who you are, and it will show when you behave. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to go out of your way to prove anything. You don't have to quarrel. You don't have to talk too much. You don't have to. What you know and what you're capable of doing will always show. You can't pretend results. You can't pretend behavior. Let me explain what I mean by you can't pretend behavior. It is the result of these two things that we judge you by, not what we're seeing. For example, take performance. You can't pretend performance, because we don't judge performance by you running up and down and doing stuff. No, we judge performance by your results. You get what I'm saying? You can't fake results. You cannot pretend results. So what we look at when we are judging performance are your results. It's the same thing with behavior. We look at the results of your interactions with people and how you connect and how you engage. That's what we look at, because that tells us what you're doing. It tells us what you're really doing. It tells us who you really are. It tells us who you really are. I think for the most part, social media has ruined how we perceive emotional intelligence. And a lot of us learn it the hard way, because we meet people that we don't know. And we react to them because we don't want them to think that we're small. We don't want them to think we're inadequate. We don't want them to think that we're incompetent. We don't want them to think that we lack knowledge, understanding, and all that. Our ego comes out to play. You have to understand that when you are in a place of business, in the work environment, and you're new there, your ego, you have to tame your ego. You have to tame your ego. A lot of us are proud. A lot of people are proud. I mean, the poorest man in this world, in his small hut, he is proud. He has his own pride. You have to ask yourself, what is my pride doing for me? How is it helping me? Me not wanting to listen to anybody, how is it helping me? Be emotionally intelligent. Think well. How whatever it is you're doing or saying, how is it going to help me? Do you understand? Okay. So, how long do I have left? How long do I have left? I'm trying to figure out if...
I'm trying to look at the time as well. My PC is all covered with you. Okay. So it should be 5:57. You have about 30 minutes left.
Oh,
so,
okay.
20 minutes of talking and 15 minutes of questions.
Okay, so I have 20 minutes. Okay,
yes.
All right. Okay, I have 20 minutes. That's cool. Let me skip. So EQ, which is what we call emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, that's EQ, emotional quotient. Like you have IQ, okay, intelligence quotient, and then you have EQ, emotional quotient. Now, in this case, EQ is a key part of the whole person. Your expertise, your skills, your know-how, okay, your experience, that's IQ. That's basically IQ. What you bring to work, that's what you're bringing to the table, as we say it, okay? So expertise is EQ, IQ. Then personality is who you are at work. That's what personality is in this regard. Who you are at work. That's what personality is. So there is what you bring to work and who you are at work. Then EQ is how you make the most of both your expertise and your personality. Your EQ, which is your emotional quotient, is what helps you strike a balance between what you bring to work and who you are at work. See, people won't care how much you know or how good you are if you are a person who repels other people. If you are a person that is, you're not a team player, you don't play well with other people, people will just look at you. You have to know how to create and strike a balance. Your personality. Let me say something that I say a lot. Forget how you are. Forget who you are. Forget whatever it is that you are. When you get to work, you have to find the persona that works best for you, that is most advantageous for you. You have to find or create that persona. You can go home and become a mad person if you like, but at work, you create a persona that works for you. Remember I said that anybody who behaves the same way everywhere, there's something that is not right with the person. Because it's not normal. You're laughing. It's not normal. It's not. It's not normal at all.
In
So-
mental health, we call it inability to regulate your behavior. So there's
Exactly.
something we call it in mental health. It means the person
Exactly.
is actually.
Exactly. You have to learn that at work, you create a persona that works for you. No, look, forget everybody. See, once you step out of your house, you're a different person. Once you step out of your door and you're on the street, you're a different person. You're a completely different person. When you get to work, you're a different person. When you get to church, you're a different person. When you're a different person. That's basically how we are. Like I said earlier, you will look at the situation, the circumstance, and determine the kind of person that you should be to fit in that situation. Unless, of course, it's a place that you're not supposed to fit in, and then you know that, I refuse, that's a different thing altogether. So, expertise, your IQ, that's what you bring to work. That's the skill. That is what we see on your CV mostly. But then we can't see EQ on your CV. We see EQ, emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, when you have engaged the job. We see it on the job. We don't see it before. You see, job interviews are very interesting because if you know what these people want to hear, you will tell them what they want to hear. It's a very straightforward thing, and it is a crazy thing. You know why? Because if you know what a person wants to hear, all you have to do is say, oh, okay. Oh, in this case, I shouldn't say this, I should say this. So you say it. If you sound amazing and awesome and all that during your interview and they give you the job, remember that when they give you the job, they give you a probationary period. Do you know why they give you a probationary period? So they can prove if the person they saw at the interview is the real you. So they can prove if all the things you have said at the interview about yourself, about your skill, about your behavior, about being a team player and all that is true. That is why these jobs actually have probation periods, because it's a time where we evaluate whether you that we saw at the interview is you who is working for us right now. Name the organization. Think of the organization that has the most stringent recruitment process. I mean, the craziest recruitment process that is so stringent, so tough. Think of it. Anyone. You will still go to that organization and find crazy people there. Find people that you're wondering, how did this guy get here? You know why? Because you can actually be amazing at the interview. And then you can be amazing during your probation period. Then when you've been confirmed, you then become a lunatic and do whatever it is you like. It's too late then. Because then they're seeing the real you. Because people constantly do that. But don't do that. Be the kind of person that you say you are. Be the kind of person that you say you are. Okay? So you have your IQ, you have your EQ, and then you have your personality. Your personality and your EQ are the two things that you can shape. Your IQ, usually it's difficult for you to adjust IQ, really. You can learn a lot. You can build information. You can build your brain capacity and all that. But it's not as if you're going to build an intelligence quotient that is beyond what you had last year or the year before. No, you will only develop to the point where, oh, this is how good this person is. And that's basically what that is. You will use what you have to your advantage. All right? So I'm going to end with this. And I need you to pay attention. So this is what we call the emotional competence framework. Emotional competence framework. All right. This is basically how we look at it when we talk about emotional intelligence. Okay. So this is the framework that tells us, oh, these are the key things. So the first thing is self-awareness. But what is self-awareness? Emotional awareness. Oh, I'm very quick to get angry. It's because you understand yourself. There's some people that are quick to get angry and you tell them that, you get angry a lot, you get angry. They say, no, I'm not like that. You know why? Because they're not self-aware. They don't understand themselves. So the first thing is emotional awareness and self-awareness. You understand yourself. You understand how you feel. You understand the things that are your triggers so that you can do something about them when you need to. All right? So then we talk about accurate self-assessment and then self-confidence. Self-assessment. If you do not know how to self-assess, you are in trouble. If you do not know how to self-assess, to look at yourself and understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, the things that give you leverage, the things that give you an advantage. If you do not understand the kind of person that you are when you're with other people, if you don't understand that, if it is not clear to you, you're going to have a lot of problems in dealing with people. Self-assessment, who you are, what you are, how you are, understanding that. I mentioned your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strength is anything. Strengths are anything that give you an advantage and a leverage within whatever context we're talking about. So an organization will have strengths and weaknesses. Strengths are whatever gives that organization, a leverage. It gives them the capacity to compete favorably within that business environment. That's their strength. Their weaknesses will be anything that compromises their strength. The same thing with you as an individual. Your strength is anything that gives you an advantage, that gives you leverage, okay? That you can leverage. But then your weaknesses are anything, whether it's a behavior, whether it's a predisposition, whether it's a personality quirk, whether it's your character, anything that compromises your strength, anything that makes it weak, so to speak. And you have to understand that. And then, of course, there's self-confidence. Self-confidence, we know what self-confidence is. And then there's what we call pseudo-self-confidence, which is false self-confidence. And we're showing people that we're self-confident. We're trying to get people to believe that we're self-confident when we actually are not. You need to find the things about yourself that make you say, yes, I have reason to be confident. Do you understand? I have reason to be confident. When I ask a question, lots of times when I'm training and I'm asking questions when it comes to things like this, I ask them, are you a self-confident person? Say yes. What reasons do you have to be self-confident? What is that thing about you that tells you like, yeah, what is the thing that makes you confident? A lot of people can't say. You know why? Because they don't understand the concept. They just understand that, oh, I need to be confident. And people tell us a lot that it is the appearance of confidence that is even more important than having self-confidence. No. Having self-confidence means that you don't have to pretend it. Having self-confidence, having reason to be self-confident, means that you don't have to pretend it. Take, for example, you prepared for an exam. You're prepared for the exam. You have prepared for the exam. You are prepared for the exam. You're confident. The reason you're confident is because you know that you're prepared for the exam. Now, imagine a person who is not prepared for the exam, who has not actually prepared for the exam, but the person wants to make it appear that they are prepared. That is pseudo self-confidence. It's not real. And we know it's not real. You need to find what makes you confident, really confident. You need to find that. You need to build that. You need to develop that so you don't have to pretend to be a confident person. All right? Then we talk about motivation. When we talk about motivation, we're talking about achievement drive. What pushes you to want to achieve? Some people don't have any kind of drive when it comes to their lives. They're just waiting for things to happen to them. They don't push. They're just waiting for things to happen to them. Don't wait for things to happen to you. Ask yourself, what do I want? And then when you have determined that, ask yourself, is it something that I can pursue, something I can get, something I can realize? And then move and pursue that. Don't wait for things to happen to you. If you are a person who is laid back, you're going to lose a lot because this world does not work for people who are laid back. It does not work for people who are laid back. It works for people who say, oh, that's what I want. That's what I'm working towards. And then you're pushing yourself and you're pushing yourself and you're pushing yourself. But if you're a person who's laid back, who's sitting down and waiting and saying something good will happen, something good will happen, you're going to wait for a very, 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 very long time because the world does not recognize you It recognizes your movement. It recognizes your action. It recognizes you moving and pushing. It recognizes your decisiveness. It recognizes your choice to say, no, I refuse to give up. It recognizes that. It doesn't recognize you laid back. It doesn't see you. Okay? It doesn't see you. Then, of course, there's commitment, then there's initiative, and then there's optimism. Commitment, in this case, is you want to do something. You want to be a part of something. To commit to the thing means that you are telling yourself that whatever it takes that I have, I will give it. Commitment is taking a part of you that is, quotes, important to you and putting it into something that you're saying, oh, this thing is equally important to me. Take your job, for example. For you to commit to your job means that you're doing whatever that job requires you to do. That's where commitment comes in. For you to be committed to your marriage, it means that you're going to do whatever your marriage requires for you. For you to be committed to anything, it means that you have looked at what it requires, what it demands of you, and you have said, I will give it. That's commitment. Commitment is not starting something and saying, no, I didn't know how to, this was how it would be, I'm not doing it anymore. That's not commitment. That's uncertainty. Then, of course, there's initiative. You thinking for yourself, you asking the questions, and you getting up and saying, oh, I want to do this. Some of us are always waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. We're always, if we want to do something, there's somebody we always will call or go to and say, what do you think I should do? Because for ourselves, we don't think it is right, or we don't know it is right. We lack initiative. You need to build your capacity for initiative, for you to ask yourself the right questions and go out and find the answers so you can decide the direction you must go. If you're always waiting for somebody or some people to tell you what to do, you're not going to go far. If you're always waiting for people to give you the kind of advice that will push you and motivate you, you're not going to go far. You need to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need to do? When you realize your gaps, then you start to ask people that, okay, this is where my gap is. This is where my gap is. What can you do for me? That's a different thing from asking people to make the decisions for you. There's some people who don't know how to get up and move. They don't know how to decide for themselves. Don't be like that. Do not be like that. You must build your capacity for initiative. And then optimism is a good thing. Be optimistic. Because if you're optimistic, it means that you always believe that, oh, this thing is going to work well. Oh, this is going to come out right. Oh, this is going to be. Do you know what optimism does for you? Optimism actually is what keeps pushing you when things are not working the way you've expected them to. If you're thinking that, oh, this thing will end well. Oh, it's going to be all right. It's going to be, you see that thinking, it actually pushes you. If you're pessimistic, you're saying that, this thing can never work well. You see that thinking is not motivational. Optimism is motivational because you believe that it's going to turn out right. And then you keep pushing yourself because you're convinced it's going to turn out right. That's what optimism does for you. And then, of course, there's empathy, being compassionate. There are different levels of empathy. There's cognitive empathy, which is if somebody is going through something. Cognitive empathy is me looking at that person and saying that, well, if I were in your situation, I'll feel the same way. Or if anybody is in your situation, they'll feel the same way. Take, for example, a person, your child is in the hospital and you're sitting down in that hospital and you're worried and all that. Anybody who is in that situation will feel the same way. That is what we mean by cognitive empathy. I understand why you feel that way. I may not feel it, but I understand why you feel it. That's cognitive empathy. Then we have what we call emotional empathy. That is like you're sitting there, you're crying, and I'm crying with you. You're crying, and because you're crying, I'm crying with you. That is emotional empathy. I'm feeling what you're feeling. That's what we mean by emotional empathy. And then, of course, there's what we call compassionate empathy, where you want to go. For example, I say, you're crying, and I'm crying with you because you're crying. But a compassionate empathy is me going a step further to look for what to do to help you so that you won't cry anymore. That's compassionate empathy. A lot of times people get themselves in trouble with compassionate empathy because then they're pushing and then they're saying, no, 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 we must help this person. And then, but then that's the idea. When it comes to empathy, you need to think about that. And of course, self-regulation. I don't want to talk too much about that, but it's the whole idea. How do you regulate yourself? How do you regulate your behavior? Self-control, being able to say no to yourself, being able to say no to an action you would like to take, being able to say no to a feeling that you would like to express, being able to regulate your behavior and your feelings and your actions, to regulate your life. Self-regulation, the capacity to do so. And then, of course, social skills. And when we talk about social skills, we talk about influence. Every time you hear influence, it has to do with relationships, it has to do with people, always has to do with people. Influence, the kind of person that you are attracts people to you. You see the term influential. There's something about you, something that you have, something that you are, that people are attracted to. That is influence. Influence is not you making anybody do anything. That's not what that means. It's a different thing altogether, but we can't go into that. And of course, there's conflict management, your capacity to actually resolve conflicts with other people and with you, between you and other people, or between other people. And then, of course, you are a change catalyst, always wanting to make things better for people. Then, of course, there's collaboration and cooperation. Build alliances, build coalitions, build alliances. Always creates the kind of relationships that benefit you. Relationships are instrumental. Let me say it like this, because when I say things like this, some people are like, what do you mean by relationships are instrumental? Are we using people now? Let me say something. Every relationship you have is instrumental. There's something every single relationship you have is supposed to be doing for you, as much as you're supposed to be doing for the person in that relationship. You see, whatever relationship you have, the day it stops to do for you what you want out of that relationship loses its value immediately. Immediately, it loses its value. If you are in a relationship with somebody, so let's say you're a woman, you're in a relationship with a guy, you see that relationship, it creates its own expectations. Every relationship creates its expectations. Whether it's a work relationship, it creates its own expectations. Whether it is a love relationship, it creates its own expectations. Whether it is marriage, husband or wife, it creates its own expectations. And once those expectations stop to be met, that relationship starts to lose value immediately. Immediately. So when I say that relationships are instrumental, that's what I mean. You must know how to build, maintain, sustain, and absolutely utilize, benefit from the relationships you have. You're not the only one who's getting something out of the relationship. You and whoever you're in that relationship with, that person must benefit from the relationship with you. It's never a one-way street. It's never, I don't even know where I find these people who are useless to me. Are you useful to them? You have to be useful to them, okay? So collaboration and cooperation, always. Then, of course, we talk about communication. Be a communicating person. We lead. On every level, we lead. The situations arise for us to lead. Understand that. Situations will always arise for you to lead. And the person who leads the best is the one who is most emotionally intelligent, right? And then, of course, we're building bonds. The relationships that we have, they become stronger because we are investing in those relationships and we are making those relationships what they should be. They are important. Imagine you and your best friend. There's some things that go unspoken. We don't need to say it because we understand that that's how it is. We build bonds. And every time we do something against that person, we are hurting that relationship. It's the relationship that we're hurting. And the relationship, as it weakens, it stops to do for us what we expect it to do. So the more you do anyhow, so to speak, the more your relationship weakens. Within an organization, understand that you must build relationships and learn to maintain them, sustain them, and utilize them, and build them, right? And then, of course, team capabilities. If you're on a team, social skills, that you always have to know that if you're on a team, you must be contributive to that team. You must be doing something for that team. See, ask yourself, if you are working with people, what is it that you are contributing to that particular group? What are you contributing? There's some of us who want to cruise through life, riding on the results and the efforts of other people. If you're like that, you're going to fail. Not be swear. If you're like that, you're going to fail. A lot of people who work on teams are actually riding on the results of others and the efforts of others and the performance of others. And at some point, it's going to show and it's going to be revealed. And you need to understand this. This thing I'm saying, you need to understand it. Okay? So this is what we call the emotional competence or emotional competence framework. And this is an important thing for you to look at. Okay? It's important. So I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to go on and on and on. So I'm going to stop here.
They're asking you to carry on. They're asking you to carry on, Mr. Leslie.
I should carry on. We will not leave this place.
I can assure them.
But let me say something before we start.
They've not experienced.
Let me say something before.
They've not experienced Mr. Leslie George. That's why they're asking you to carry on. They will not leave this place. You guys, if you have questions,
I want to say something.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have questions, ask questions. If you have questions, ask so that we can.
Yeah, we can make it more interactive. So it's not you just sitting down and you're just pouring and pouring and pouring. We need to be more practical because emotional intelligence is a very practical area. I tell you, a lot of people are experiencing a lot of things at work, the kind of challenges that they experience at work, even mid-level career, high, as in managerial level and all that. I don't know if you have such kind of people here among us, but most of the people here are young graduates, I believe. But it is one area that it poses challenge the moment you get into work, relating with people, understanding the power of people and how to use it. I'm very sure there are people here who have experiences to share. Problems at work. You might want to be anonymous. You might want to say it on behalf of a friend or something you've heard you want to learn from. Please share your experience in relation to emotional intelligence and seek answers. You have the floor now. You can send it by message on the chat room. You can unmute yourself and speak. In fact, I encourage you to unmute yourself because we are learning many things from this session. Ability to communicate, presentation skills, face your fears, I'm encouraging that. So I will encourage you to unmute your mic and speak. Ask your questions. Don't be afraid. There's no stupid questions anywhere. As long as it's a question, it's no longer stupid. Ask your questions.
Abi?
Come on.
Well, if you don't have any questions, it means that, okay, you understand what's going on and you understand what we'll be saying. I'm going to say this. Well, the reason I'm actually hurrying up is because if you're not asking questions, I need to go. I have a meeting that I'm supposed to be in right now, but I decided to just do this and let it wait. So everything that you're going to do is dependent on the choices that you will make, and your choices need to be informed. That means you must understand, you must learn, you must have information enough for you to make the right choices, the kind of choices you must make. You must have information enough to make the right choices. Don't base anything you're doing on, I think, I feel. No, know for sure. As long as it is something that can be found out, go and find out. Okay? The thing that ruins a lot of young people in the corporate environment is that idea of I know. You don't know till you know that you know. You need to actually calm down, think it well, listen well. You need to listen more than you speak. Listen more than you talk. Some of us want to impress the people that we work with and our bosses and all that, and we tend to talk a lot. Don't talk a lot. Relax. Listen. Talk when it is necessary to talk, but listen more, because the more you listen, the more you hear. The more you hear, the more you are likely to understand. And if you understand, you're going to make less mistakes if you understand. Ask a lot of questions. Ask questions a lot, okay? Ask questions a lot. Don't stop asking questions. If somebody explains something to you and you don't understand it, tell them you don't understand it and tell them where they lost you. Don't just say, if I say, do you understand? Don't just say no. Tell me what you do not understand. That's basically how you need to tell people that, oh, I don't understand what you said. Tell them, oh, I don't understand, and tell them what exactly you do not understand. Because if I explain something to you and then you say you don't understand, I have to explain it again. Tell me the part of the whole thing that you don't understand, because it becomes easier for me to direct my attention at the parts that you don't understand. Okay? Always, always listen, think, act. Don't be afraid to act as long as you have the ground for action. Do not be afraid to act. Okay? So, Bumi, I think I'm done.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of GETWORK Nigeria team and the young graduates, we want to say thank you for taking out of your time. I know you're running away. You have another session. But you have to receive this appreciation, sir. And we'll reach out to you personally. We do not take this for granted. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
We look forward
Thank you for having me.
Please follow Mr. Leslie George on LinkedIn. You have a lot to learn. That was my connection. The kind of post, oh my God, I don't want, just connect with him on LinkedIn. Let me allow him go, and then we do our thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We have the floor now. Maybe you guys were shy to show what you're made of, but now we have the floor. Let me put on my camera. Today is the grand finale. You're not running anywhere. So we have the floor now. I'm going to ask some questions, and there are benefits from answering these questions. And they are emotional, intelligent kind of questions. These are the kind of questions that you would, it also helps. It's not just about this session. It's also about your interview. It's going to help during your interview. There are questions that people can ask you, your interviewer can ask you. So it's good you get acquainted with all these kind of questions, because these questions are just basically testing your emotional intelligence. You want to try. Don't shy away from trying, and don't run away because I say it's question time. Okay, my first question. Tell me about a time you faced an ethical dilemma at work. We all know what ethics is. At least you know the ethics of your profession. I expect it, you know. And if you don't know what ethics is, Google is your friend. So tell me about a time you faced an ethical dilemma at work and how you dealt with it. How did you deal with it? You're at work, there's an issue around ethics. You have to think, it's a situational case. You have to think of a situation. Remember your star. So who wants to try? Who wants to try? I'm putting everybody on the spot now. Let's put our skills to work. I see somebody leaving. Don't leave. The more you face your challenges, the better you are at it. I know you didn't prepare for this. I'm putting you on the spot. Try to answer. Yes. Someone is adjusting their mic. Baldwin, do you want to try this?
Let me try.
Okay, who wants to try?
Hello, good day.
Okay, someone wants to try. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I can remember when we're in a meeting.
Yes.
So it's like one of the staff received a call. Though I didn't know. So I'm the one, leading the meeting. Yes. Yes. So I'm the one leading the meeting. And so like the person just stood up and left, without permission. So what I want to say is that through I have to study what happened, what's really happening. Because normally, if you want to eat yourself, you raise up your hands or you take excuse. So like, meanwhile, the person received a call. So normally, I'm supposed to react. Like that was not ethical enough. Just stood up and left. So, but when I saw she's not really organized, well, she was disturbed. They have to notice that there's something
Oh,
wrong.
hello
They
everyone.
have to call two female staff to go and meet her, so to know what's really happened. So that's what I can say about the issue was solved.
Um, is Sis Bumi there? Sis Bumi, you're muted. You're muted.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Samuel, thank you for sharing that. I took something from what you shared, and one is empathy. Like you looking at the situation and not making assumptions. You're observant.
Yes.
You were observant to the person's emotions. You were very observant. Like you looked at it and said and felt this is not a usual thing. This is a very unusual thing. There must be a reason behind it. So you were not so reactional. You were not so fast in reacting. You took your time, and you had empathy that the person was so unsettled. Probably the person got a bad news, and that's the reason why the person got up from the meeting. So it is a very good approach, and thank you for sharing. I will go to another one. Could you please tell me a time you've been criticized at work and how you reacted to it? Share an experience with me on how you reacted to a criticism of your work. I will need somebody else to do that. I see Sophia's hand raised. Sophia, can you unmute yourself if you would like to answer?
Okay, good evening. I was actually raising my hand for the first question.
Okay. You could
This
still
second
share.
one.
You could still share. You could still share.
Okay.
You are raising your hand for the second question, I suppose. Sophia, you could still share your first question, your answer to the first question.
Okay, so for the first question, mine wasn't really at workplace. It was in school. So I'm the HOC for my class.
Okay.
And during HND1, I'm presently in HND1, my final year presently. So during our HND1, I had to carry out my tasks diligently, and life happens to everyone. So, and one thing I do is I do put people in my shoes. That if I am the one in this, because I'm the leadership position, shouldn't mean I should inconvenience others. Let me try to put myself in other people's shoes too. So maybe we have to buy handout or things or anything or any material like that. My friends always tell me that why can't you add money? Like you that you be in school till 6, 7, everybody would have gone home by 4. You stay back in school, you talk to lecturers, make sure things are in place, this, that, blah, 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 and they're not paying you. I was like, nobody chose me to be the HOC. I decided I volunteered to do this thing. So me now collecting money, adding extra charges. That's not really, it's not making sense. Like I lose my integrity at the end of the day. So, and one thing I do a lot is I used to do self-assessment. Probably if there is anything I notice I do wrong, or I notice people were talking something about me, I just talk to my close ones or those that are elder me than me in the class. I just talk to them like, please, this thing that I did, in what way did I go wrong or something? So I use self-assessment and I always make sure I put people in my shoes. So not until this semester, I had a lot of engagement and I was like, I don't think I'll be able to cope again. Like, I would like to be the assistant then while my assistants take over. So when I'm available, I always show up. All of them were like, Sophia, no, 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 come and be our rep. This because like they always report the other person to me, like, he's always adding money to Kinikon, he's always doing things that is convenient for him. He will not look at other people's schedule, he will not do this, he will not do that. So that's just the experience I have.
Thank you very much, Sophia, for that very wonderful experience. And I tell you, that experience you had in school is something that also happens in the workplace. Sometimes when you're about to take decisions, you need to get what they call buy-in. One of the first experience I had with leadership was during my NYSC when I led about 50 lawyers in our community, is it what they call community development program. So I led about 50 lawyers and then we sit down to take decisions. I had ESCOs. So the first issue I had was I noticed that anytime I sit with the general meeting with the 50 lawyers, I always have my ESCOs opposing me, opposing any idea I bring. So I had this mentor of mine and a boss where I worked, that was attached to the CD group. And he said to me, he said, you need to leverage on relationships. You need to leverage on people. You need to get people's buy-in. You need to leverage on your social skills. Your ESCOs, people who are in your inner caucus, should not be opposing you on a main group. It's wrong. This means that you've not done your homework. You've not done your assignments. So in line with what Sophia said, is very important. Part of emotional intelligence, if you remember what Mr. Leslie George discussed of social skills, ability to leverage on relationships, to leverage on people, to get people's buy-in, to get people to understand the reason why you are doing some certain things so that they are not upset. You see, when she was able to do that, they became committed to her. They became committed to our goals. They became committed to our leadership. And that's what happens when you are emotionally intelligent. I wish Mr. Leslie George is actually here to see the impact of his class. Okay, Iswat, can you share for the second question? I think I will just be done with the second. I will just do those two questions. We might have other programs where we get to share our experiences. I'm loving this. Go ahead, Iswat.
Okay, good evening, ma'am. I'll share this, although I don't know if it's actually related to this question, but I'll still share it. So I work as a teacher, as a part-time teacher. So there was this day we just resumed back to school and there were some changes made, but the changes were made on Monday. And as a part-time teacher, I only go to work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So when I resumed with them on Tuesday, I didn't check the timetable or anything. So in my mind, I was like, oh, they'll still use the old timetable. So there are some classes that I was supposed to go to. So in my mind, I was looking at my old timetable, thinking that, okay, it's still the same classes that I have to attend. And it was for like 2 weeks straight. I didn't go to this particular class that I was supposed to go to. So meanwhile, the head of staff, she asked around about how teachers are coming to the classes and all. So I think the student mentioned that they've not had my subject for a while now, like what's going on, is Miss Motorari not teaching them again? And me, I didn't know about it. So when I resumed this particular Tuesday, she just called me to her office and she was like, Miss Motorari, I don't think this is what we actually paid you for. We are paying you this amount so that you can take all the classes, you can do this, you can do that. At first, me as a person, I'm this kind of person that at home, if you say more like this, like there's this thing Yoruba would say is like, my head was just hot. But because I was at work, I couldn't know what to say. I bowed down my head and for like 5 minutes, I didn't say anything. So I just raised my head and I was like, excuse me, ma. I guess this mistake is from my end. I didn't check the new timetable. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. So I accepted my mistake instantly. to avoid me saying that I don't know. So I accepted my mistake, and she was like, okay, fine. But you know, when you resume for a new term, you have to check for the changes, you have to check the timetable, this and that. So I told her that okay, for the parts that like for the bits that I've missed, I will try to cover up, do the necessary things with the students and all, which I did, and she was satisfied at the end. So that was how I actually handled the criticism and all.
The beautiful one, Iswat, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I want us to have that emotional competence framework and see, if you have the screenshot, if you can go to the group, you will see how all these things that Mr. Leslie George has shared is, you know, is showing up in our conversations, in what we are saying. It's so beautiful. And you see, the first one we talked about, someone talked about empathy. He talked about how he showed empathy. Another person talked about how she showed social skills in dealing with a situation that involved emotional intelligence. Now, somebody else has shared something else. Do you know what that is? I would let you look at that and guess. I will let somebody drop that answer in the comment section. What part of the competency framework did Iswat just share? I'm sure you listened. What part of this competency framework did she share? What part of the competency framework, of the emotional competency framework, has she displayed? Yes, self-control, self-regulation. It shows you are listening. That is it. She exhibited self-regulation. She regulated her behavior. Remember what she said? She said if she was at home, she would have fled up. That she does not know how to take in stuff. She does not know how to talk. She doesn't, her tolerance level is low. That's basically what she meant by what she said. Her tolerance level is very low, but she was confronted with a situation where she had to increase her tolerance level and exhibit a lot of self-control, self-regulation as an umbrella. Then we have, let me read it. We have self-control, we have trustworthiness, we have conscientiousness, we have adaptability. She adapted. We have innovation. She was innovative in the way she approached the situation. She apologized. And she found a new way to explain herself instead of flaring up. So these are the ways we exhibit emotional intelligence. These things are practical than theoretical. I just wanted us to bring it to a practical sense, you know, and it's more engaging. It's a more engaging class. You stay with this knowledge, you know, more, as in it's more impactful when you're able to share your experience and apply the lessons from this class. Yes, I see a hand raised up still. Is this still, are you still trying to share something, Samuel? Or that was a previous hand? Was that a previous hand?
No, I want to share.
Okay, go ahead.
There was a place I was working. No, I was given a privilege to head the unit. So it was like when you put in your best without carrying others along, no, it was like I was working alone. So when I was accused, no, when you thought you are doing good thing, and though there was result, you know, with what you do, you see result, and from the result, you know when you are doing good or when you are doing wrong. So I was seeing good result actually, but I was accused somehow. I was like, wow, because nobody could even support me. So, and I noticed that it's because of my relationship with others. So I have to change some things. I have to relate with other teammates. So I have to, you know, carry them along. So the next time when the same thing happens, you know, it was like I did not even talk, and there are others were like, no, Mr. So it's not like that, no, it's not, it's this. So I was like, oh, so it's because that no, my relationship with others is poor. Before, that's why nobody could defend me or say something. But now that you have a good rapport with them, you know, your relationship is so close, they are able to know, okay, know some things. Okay, this person is not doing this as if you want to show that he's a champion. So that's why I was, you know, they were able to defend me. So this is what I want to share.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I see more hands raised up. Joshua, please go ahead. Is Joshua there, or is a mistake? Is it a mistake?
Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you very well, Joshua.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I just wanted to share this experience.
Okay.
Unlike others who have been able to manage this, in my situation, I was not able to manage it. Okay, I was running an internship at CTFM at some point. I was working in the engineering department. So for the rest of the other departments, since the so they will be like, hey, you go do this for me, hey, you go do that for me, and it kind of got to me. And I reacted to it. I stood up and told and challenged people I was not supposed to challenge. That why should you be disturbing me? At least I'm just confined to this department. And my boss, the guy I was understudying, came and told me that I was wrong. Came and told me I was wrong, that everyone here is your superior. So because when I was in school, I used to do little business and work for some persons. What I have learned throughout all my little experiences is that no one wants to hear that he's wrong or she's wrong, especially when the person is the boss, the person on top. No one, you can find another way or another part of relating your emotions, of relating what you feel at a particular point. I kind of learned that through the experience, because normally I would just voice out what I feel. So I've learned that over time, that when you're learning or you're under somebody or you're in a workplace, that there should be a certain way
Yeah, I think his network is fluctuating, but
to talk, and certain way to class has kind of opened my eyes the more to this class have kind of opened my eyes the more to how to regulate yourself and how to be more self-controlled. So that's my experience.
Beautiful experiences. You see, these things they are not far away from us. They are things we experience every day. Emotional intelligence in the workplace is something you are going to deal with as you grow. You know, you come into the workplace with your skills, your IQ, but that cannot sustain you. There's more to the workplace than your skills, your soft skills, your hard skills, your IQ. You know, those things are good. Your punctuality, your commitment, those kind of things. But your relationship with people, because you are not dealing with machines, even if you're dealing with machines, it's people that control those machines. So your relationship with people is top. If there's anything that I've learned from my mentors, especially one of them that I will introduce very shortly, is emotional intelligence. You know, your ability to regulate your behavior at every point in time, knowing fully well that, you know, that's what makes you a normal human being. You cannot behave the same way you behave at home. It's not a matter of being hypocritical or being pretentious. Some people might look at it that way, but no, that's not what it's trying to say. Your character is different from your behavior. You can decide not to react in a certain way. For example, when you sit in your sitting room and you're watching your TV, the way you sit is different from when you're in your workplace. You cannot be at your table, at your computer table, and slush like this, as if you are sitting in your sitting room. It's not possible. When you do that, it only shows you are not normal. Something is wrong. So if we look at that, it's in levels. So when you are faced with certain situation in the workplace and the level of your emotional intelligence is high, is above average, there are certain ways you will or you will not react to situation. And what's the secret? For me, the secret for me has been, what is the goal? What's the goal of my communication? What am I trying to achieve? I look beyond what the other person is displaying and I focus on my goal. If I'm a boss at work, I've been in positions of leadership in the workplace. I've been in position of being an entrepreneur where I have to relate with clients and I have to relate with people that represent those clients and act in certain ways that are not pleasant. A recent one is, a client that's been owing me some amount of money for some time. I did a work for, and the HR, in that environment, she keeps ignoring my calls. She keeps ignoring my, it was enough to annoy me because I did my work and I should earn my wage. But no, this is a relationship that I want to continue. I want that relationship to continue. So what was I left with? Number one, I had to self-regulate. Forget whatever it is. Number two, I even had to show empathy because she might be going through a lot. Maybe the company is owing a lot of vendors, not just me. So I have to, because I've been in a position, I've also been an administrator in an environment where a lot of vendors were being owed money and people keep calling me left, right, and center. And because of that, I switch off my phone or I don't pick their calls. It's not a good thing, but I did that. So I'm able to put myself in her shoes, And again, I now started to use my social skills. I reached out to her in a friendly manner. I said, even if you don't go to Jerusalem, I changed it. I became a friend. Even if Mohammed, you say, even if Mohammed does not go to the mountain will come to. I've come to you. Please, I beg you. I'm not making yanga. I changed everything for her. I asked about her family, asked about work. She told me how stressed she was. My brothers and sisters, my money was paid in 3 weeks. Less than a month after I had this conversation with this lady. What did I do? How did I get that? Social skills, my competency framework. I self-regulated. I showed empathy. Social skills. I even motivated. I told her, if you have any HR issue, maybe my work is beyond just legal that I provide for you guys. If you're having any HR issues or you need some, I told her about GETWORK Nigeria. I motivated her on her job and she was like, I like what you are doing on GETWORK Nigeria. She's been here. She's been in one of our programs. She's not here today, but she's been here. That's the level of the relationship I built with her. And you can do it. In your workplaces, there's something that we always call for your anger and attention every day. Something will always come for your emotions. But the level of your emotional intelligence, how you built it over time, and it takes practice. How you've been able to practice self-restraint, self-control, how you've been able to practice social skills, relating with people, getting people to like you is very important. You heard what Mr. Leslie just said. People must like you. There's nothing like, I don't care what people think. Yeah, in a large environment, you can't be caring about what everybody thinks. But with a team you work with, what they think about you matters. In your workplace, a place you spend up to 8 hours, 9 hours in a day, you don't want to care about what they think about you. You are joking. That cannot be the behavior there. You may not care what people are thinking about you in a larger space, in a larger community, and that's up to you. But not bothering about what your boss or what your subordinates or what your team members think about you is a problem. You should be bothered. And you shouldn't go out of your way. I call it go out of your way to do things that will make people dislike you. Why? What do you earn from it? What did you gain? Nothing. At every point in time, you should be likable. Likable. People skills will get you to places you don't dream about in this life. People skills. What I've become in this life is my ability to connect with great people. Everything, my journey, my success journey is being about people. So I'm challenging you today. You've been in this session. It is not a waste. I want to congratulate you. And I want to bring to this platform to end this beautiful 4-week program that we've had together. I'm bringing in our patron, Miss Yetunde Ajibade, to close this session for us, to challenge us and give us the news going forward. Give us what we need, And I tell you, this is not the end of GETWORK Nigeria program. I'm with you. If you are not on that WhatsApp community group, please join. If you are not planning to participate, you are planning to be a silent member, please, emotional intelligence, change your mind. So, Ms. Yetunde Ajibade, you are welcome. We are happy to have you, and we can't wait to hear from you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Bumi. How are you? What's up?
Good. I'm good, Miss
Good.
White.
You know when you're talking about the being emotional emotionally intelligent part, I was just remembering about some cases that I've had with you in the past. And when you're talking about your social skills,
Please don't say it, please.
no, now
please,
your people need to
please.
hear.
Please, Miss
Hey,
White,
I'm
please.
talking about your social
Don't
skills.
tell me, please.
Your people need to hear. This madam here, she's one very assertive, blunt human being. And I have just watched her grow and manage her social skills. So don't worry, Bumi, it's not bad news. It's that I've watched you grow and become more emotionally intelligent as you have grown, being an entrepreneur of repute in your own right. So yeah, I just had to throw you under the bus.
Okay.
GETWORK
Okay.
Nigeria.
Changing the rhetoric for Nigerian graduates.
Hello, everyone. If you are still there, wave. Let me see a wave. Let me see a hand raised. Let me see a hello. Let me see something. If you're still there, send me a hi. Send me a I'm still here. I'm not sleeping. I'm awake. Send something. Send something. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Okay, I've seen a few people. Okay. I see you. I see you all. Well done. Okay, so the way I always come in, I usually just come in and put my own flavor on whatever topic we've had for today. But just a few things to add to what the last speaker said on emotional intelligence. I think that is something, that's a life skill, really. It is a life skill. And I will extend that. In this session and, this wrap-up session, which is just a few minutes. If you want to see me physically, we are coming next year, 2024. We are having a physical meeting. You don't want to miss it for anything. So tell someone to tell someone to tell someone. We need a packed room, and then you can see me physically. Expecting to see you all there. So yeah, we're talking about emotional intelligence. It's something you have to learn the hard way. This other boy who asked the question was talking about how they were sending him up and down in his office. But am I right? Is that what he meant? Because I joined him.
Exactly, that's what he meant.
He said he will have people,
and
I will advise. Okay, they kept calling him to send him to different places, right?
Exactly.
Like he was an errand boy, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll tell you my story. Okay, first things first. Adulting is hard. Enjoy your childhood for as long as you can. Let them send you, because when it comes to the time to become an adult, you will not see help. You will be, that's someone put something up on social media and said adulthood is a scam. I remember when we're all in primary school, secondary school, high school, uni. I can't wait to be older. I can't wait to grow up. Calm down and serve for as long as you can, to sponge as much as you can, to network as much as you can, to make as many connections as you can. I wonder why the youth are so hungry for this thing they call respect. You must respect me. I'm also a human being. Let them use you anyhow. What you don't understand is that the person using you is training you. Trust me. It is in future you will realize that it was not punishment. In fact, it was, am I going to send my boss on an errand? Now, I told Bumi this story before. I walked into an organization where they wanted me to take up a position. Initially, I did not take up the position. And after some time, they called me again for that position. But then someone else, who is like my mate, we have almost like the same social circle. She's like my mate. And she had the senior position. Now, she had the senior position and there was a position under her, meaning that I have to report to someone who is like my mate. Are you guys here? So wave if you are here, if you can still hear me, because I'm getting somewhere. Now, I had to work with someone who was like my mate. So, so it's almost like reporting to someone who is like your, your contemporary. And the only reason why I could learn on the job, oh boy, did I learn from her. I learned so much from her. The only reason I could learn from her was because I was willing to submit. I'm a fashionista, so I like to look good. I will dress up, wear my high heels, my beautiful bag, get my hair done, everything laid and shining. And, we'll go out for a meeting and she'll be like, oh, yeah, that's yesterday. She works with me. She's one of the people that work with me. I'm like, it's okay. I am sitting in those boardrooms and I'm seeing how she negotiates. So guess what? She got on the field early. So we might have been contemporaries and age mates, but she was negotiating billions. How can you have this is many, many years ago, by the way, it's because there's no amount of money that scares me now. She will sit down and she will convince people to invest billions in the company. How is this girl doing it? So I was learning. When we get to a place, I will carry her. This girl is supposed to be like my contemporary, remember? I will carry her bag. You know why? I needed to make her feel comfortable. I did not want her to feel threatened. I didn't want her to see me as competition, so I could learn. Don't be in a hurry for this thing called respect. They will give you the respect, you'll be tired of it. You even say, call me by name. You get to a point that you'll be like, just call my name. I don't need. Does Oprah care if you call her Auntie Oprah? Does Moabudu care if you Auntie Mo? They've made their name. What do I want to use the auntie for? Auntie for what? Is auntie paying my bills? Calm down. Let them use you. Let them trust you. Let them teach you the way. Gain experience from those who have gone ahead of you. The time will come. Because if you get ahead of yourself, you will not get help. It's very, very lonely when you become an adult and when you're at the top. There's nobody else to help you. It's only you and God. So enjoy the time while you're working with people, while you lean on them, gain experience from them. Sometimes there are some mistakes you will avoid because you have seen somebody else, your superior, make those mistakes. You know what I mean? So it's just an opportunity for you to actually learn and grow. Don't look at it as if someone is using you. So if you find yourself in any place, if they say clean my shoes, no problem. Do whatever. Make them comfortable enough to open up and show you the way. And that's why you need to hang around successful people. You were talking about social skills, and I'm going to call it social intelligence and social wealth. And this is going to take me to quickly because I'm not going to take too much of your time. You guys have been here for a long time. All right. Should I go ahead or I should end my class? Can I end my conversation? Are people still there? Do you still want to hear from me? Let me see you chat in the group. Should I end my session? Are you ready for me to end my session? Okay. All right. Now, so I was going to talk about wealth, and I'm going to start from the social wealth because we talked about the emotional intelligence. Yeah. There are different types of wealth, and talking about social wealth, I must have mentioned it, many times. I always mention it. In fact, this is a popular saying now. If you have, 4 rich friends, trust me, you are the 5th rich person. If you have 4 poor friends, you are the 5th poor person. So you are as rich as your social network. And sometimes you will need to serve to get into certain circles. So don't be afraid to serve. Get into those circles. It's called social wealth, social intelligence. There are people that eventually you'll be able to call up and say, I have this idea. I have oh my goodness, she works with me. I can trust her. Let's support her. So you need that. Please don't get ahead of yourself. Oh, she insulted me. Oh, she shouted at me. Let them shout. You are learning. Okay? Now I'll continue to talk about the different types of wealth that we have. But before I continue, the title of what I'm talking about today is what is in your hand. Can somebody write that in the chat section rather, before I speak wrongly, in the chat section. I want you to put what is in my hand. It is the question that you need to ask before we even go to all of these things that we're talking about. What exactly do you have in your hands? What do you have in your hands? This is what is going to drive everything that you do. What do I have in my hands? Now, you know, we have three categories of people. We have the poor, we have the rich, and we have the wealthy. Okay? We have the poor, we have the rich, we have the wealthy. The poor people, they chase money. Okay? Poor people chase money. You will see them chasing money. Any small thing is money. They will die looking for money. They will never get it. They will continue to look for it. Their only motivation in life is money. After money is money. Now, the rich chase things. So the rich will always chase things. Oh, I have this designer bag. Oh, I want to buy this house. Oh, they keep chasing things. When you chase things, you lose things. Okay? When you chase things, you lose things. Because that's what's valued to you. And then we have the wealthy. And the wealthy are all about ideas. The wealthy are all about ideas. Why? Because ideas rule the world. Why did I say rules the world? Ideas rule the world. You know, I was telling Bumi about crisis. While the poor will be crying during crisis, the poor is crying during crisis, and the poor is frustrated during crisis and is consumed in lack. The rich is losing things during the crisis. You know, they are losing their money, they are losing their assets. The wealthy is using that period as an opportunity to create an idea to generate wealth. So where everybody is seeing the lack and the loss, the wealthy is seeing an opportunity. Okay, so what we want to look at is opportunities. We don't see crises. Hello? Anybody there? Put it in the chat room. We don't see crises. We see opportunities. We see opportunities. We don't see crises. So when people are complaining and crying, we are smiling and we are saying, oh Lord, wow, what an opportunity to create something new. You remember during COVID, so many people made money from hand sanitizer, yeah? It was an opportunity. It was an opportunity. They were like, okay, what do I do during this period? And obviously we needed to sanitize everything. In fact, we were bathing with sanitizers. If you don't have body lotion in the house, it's okay. As at that time, sanitizer was more important than body lotion. And people made a kill from making sanitizers. So ideas rule the world. What I want to take from everything we are saying today is that what is your big idea? Everybody needs to represent a big idea. What is your big idea? That your big idea, you make a decision and say, this is my big idea. Nobody else can take this away from me. You know, if you don't have an idea, there's nothing else to build upon. What you build upon is an idea. GETWORK Nigeria started as an idea. Hello? Can you hear me? GETWORK Nigeria started as an idea. All right? And then it expanded into what you are seeing today, what you are hearing today, what you are partaking in today. So you need to come up with an idea. You know, I was talking to someone the other day who was praying because I'm a woman of faith, I'm a Christian, and I was saying, God does not give us wealth. Has anybody heard that before? I'm going to keep quiet for a minute. I need people to answer me in the group. Has anybody ever heard that God does not give us wealth? Please send your opinion in the chat room. I want to see what you think about that. If it's confusing, put it's confusing. If it is, God gives us wealth, just put it there. Let me know if you know that God does not give us wealth. Okay? If you don't agree, say, I don't agree. God gives wealth. Confusing. Now, God does not give us. Bumi nailed it. God gives us the ability to create wealth. God gives us the ability to create wealth. Did you get that? If you understand it now, put it in the chat group. God does not give wealth. He gives us the ability to create wealth. You know, God is gentle. God is not one with God is, he might our Father in heaven really knows how to mind his business. So, it is what you ask for that you get. God really knows how to mind it. And that's why those who know how to ask and seek, they find. He gives us the ability to create wealth. Okay? We have an idea. The idea is not going to expand or work on itself. You will, there's a popular saying, a lot of people in the, in the coaching industry says this, even pastors will tell you that God does not give you a chair, God will give you a tree, right? God will give you a tree and then you create a chair out of it. You create furniture out of it. You create a table out of it. You create a wardrobe out of it. So God will give you and that is what I asked. I said, what do you have in your hands? Okay? So it's what you have in your hands that God will bless and use to create wealth. And that is why we need to continually, don't forget the spiritual, and this is going to bring me to spiritual wealth. The basis and foundation of a wealthy mind and a wealthy person, we even exhibit that, is first of all, start spiritually. Understanding, how to make money starts from the inside of you. You need to ensure that you are spiritually available to be creative. That everything that has been put inside of you, is nudging you to make the right decisions. This is where we ask, okay, we pray for wisdom, we pray for knowledge, we pray for understanding. You understand? We pray for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because these are things that we need, to expand whatever ideas that we have. So spiritually, you need to be wealthy. Physically, you need to be wealthy. And what do I say about physical wealth? If you don't take care of your body, Steve Jobs was the wealthiest man, but he died. He died a wealthy man, but physically, he did not have strength. So he needed physical wealth, but he couldn't buy it with money. All right. So you also need to be wealthy physically. And I'm just going to round it up. All right. And then we also need to be wealthy, with our community and influence, which is what they're talking about with emotional intelligence. You need to be influential. You need to be a person of influence. When they mention your name, what happens when they mention your name? When they mention your name, what do people do? When they mention your name, what do people say about you? Bumi, please give me a name of somebody in the group there. One of our participants. Maybe a popular one that has been talking since morning.
Sophia.
Sophia. Did you say Sophia?
Yes, ma'am. I'm with you.
Okay, Sophia. So leave your mic on. All right, let's make it a little bit interactive. All right. When people talk about Sophia, what do they say? When ask who is Sophia, what can they say about Sophia? Can your name open doors for people? Okay, you can mute your mic. You can mute your mic. Mute your mic. You're in a noisy place. You can mute your mic, Sophia. So as I was saying, for every decision that you make, every move that you make, are you thinking about the adverse effects on your reputation? So what do people say when they mention your name? I think it was Bumi, I was telling the other day that, do you know that there are some people that their names, just a mention of their name, can get you maybe a loan in the bank. Maybe just their signature. That I sign on this person, give out this loan. And the bank will not think twice. So what is your influence doing? I think it's important that you start to build it. Some of us are just, graduates or just everywhere you go, leave a footprint of what you would like to be remembered for. There, let all of them know that I I am not regular. So it's important that your reputation goes ahead of you so that it can make way for you. And then we still go back to what is in your hand. And in answering this question, I want some people to just write in the chat group what they have in their hand. Tell me what you have in your hand. Now, if you have something in your hand and you are unable to manage it, what happens to it? Answer me in the chat room. If you have something in your hand and you're unable to manage it, what happens to it? Hello, are you there? Okay. So I see it will die and fade away. It becomes a waste to be rendered so useless. It will die and fade away. It will expire. It spoils. Okay. All right. So you see that what you don't manage, you lose. What you don't manage, you lose. And that is why we need to be very sensitive about managing what is in our hands. Because I remember that even the parable of the talents, I remember when Jesus was giving, the parable about the master who gave everybody, even the one you have will be taken away from you if you mismanage it. So you need to manage properly everything that is in your hand, whatever giftings that you have, whatever talents that you have, the relationships that you have, your marriage, your family, your friends, your social circle, your talents, your skills. If you don't manage it well and improve on it, you will lose it. So we need to focus, start from the inside out. The whole idea of my session is for us to be introspective. Like, I want us to look inside of us and see it starts with me. It starts with, you want a lot of things, you wish for a lot of things. And if I ask you, 100 things that you want, 99 of them will be probably money. But it starts with you. It starts with who you are. How are you managing your time? You want a mansion, but the one-bedroom apartment that you are in is a mess. If God gave you $1 billion today, as you are today, right now, what are you going to do with it? I can bet you most of you don't know. So why are you looking for money? Have you thought about it? So why are you looking for money? So you think those ones who have a vision board mapped out in their bedroom, allocating $1 billion right now? There are some people who have a vision board that if I get $1 billion, this goes to this, $100 million goes to this, $50 million goes to this. There's a plan. There is a plan. They are thinking, they are managing, they are preparing, they are working towards it. So let's not put the cart before the horse. Let us manage what is in our hands. I asked that question. Someone should tell me in the chat room, if truthfully, this is truthfully, if I give you $1 billion now, do you know what to do with it? And I want a truthful answer. $1 billion. I said, take $1 billion. In the chat room, let me see your answers. Are you there? I see someone say become useless. Bumi, please, you need to unmute your mic. We need to laugh at this together.
I saw it too. I was just laughing. I didn't know I was muted.
Did you see the Adenike Sanusi? That is funny. Become useless. You know, so
but she's been truthful now.
because that is the truth.
You asked for truthfulness.
Because so you now see the reason why some of us don't have money. Some people don't have money because there's no plan for the money. You can't have what you have not planned for. So, you know, to wrap this up, pretty much, it is pretty much as we're wrapping up this GETWORK November edition. But is this the last one, or do we have one more?
This is the last one for this year.
For this year. Okay, so what I'm trying to say right now is that as we go forth this year, and as we're, you know, rounding off and closing 2023, we need to manage what is in our hand. Okay, wherever God has placed you, or whatever God has placed in your hands as a skill, manage it so that it is not even taken away from you. Ideas, you know, we are all God's ideas are flying in the air. Any idea that you have, somebody else is thinking about it. There's nothing new under the sun. If you don't do something with the idea, somebody else will do something with it. And that's why you see that sometimes you will discover that somebody has started something and you'll be like, oh my God, and I thought about this idea. Oh, wow. I was thinking about it. So you just see it on Instagram or on Facebook that somebody has started it. Okay. So what you want to do is, you know, identify what is in your hand and run with it. Don't leave it in your hand. Like I told you, what you don't manage, you will lose. It will be taken away from you because you lack capacity to manage it. All right. So this is pretty much how I'll be leaving you. Go into the world. I want you people to be determined that there is nothing that you cannot achieve. Understand that impossible is nothing for someone who is determined. You go into the world determined with all the knowledge and all the speakers and everything you have learned from GETWORK Nigeria. Take it as fuel. Take it as fuel. Go into the world and decide. You know, there's something that I say, right? And there's something that I learned. Something I learned is that, you know, my Father owns everything. My Father in heaven owns everything. My Father in heaven owns everything. God owns everything. I don't own anything, okay? And since my Father owns everything, I cannot lose anything. So I just take dominion, which God has said I should take. So what I do is that I go out in the world with that. How does a rich man's child behave? I just go into the, like, my father is wealthy. You understand? My bank account might not tell you that I am wealthy right now. But don't worry, I know that I'm wealthy. I am wealthy. Okay? I am wealthy. So everything on this earth is mine. Never look at anything as, oh, it is for some special people. Oh, because this person was born into a wealthy family. Oh, because this person finished from so-so university. I'm telling you, everything is available for us to take. It is a decision and the determination that differs. So go ahead before the end of this year. You understand? There is still the 11th hour testimonies for somebody here. You can start now. It is not too late. Where you are is not a representation of, you know, where you're going. Where you are right now is, you know, is just part of the journey. First of all, enjoy the journey, because the destination is when you are dead. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
I want you to put it in the group. The destination is when you are dead. Can somebody type that in the chat room? The destination. Because we all, you know, all of us are heading somewhere. We are going somewhere. Trust me, it is always going to be a journey. If you have, you know, attained a particular level, you know, or a particular position, you're aiming for the next. And then you're aiming for the next. If you have conquered a territory, now you want to conquer more territories. All right? So the destination, enjoy the journey. Get up in the morning, have a smile on your face, and be like, I am ready to take dominion. If you are in your half-room apartment, in that half-room apartment with a shared toilet and bathroom, I am going to take dominion. You have a smile on your face, a determination in your mind. You know, you're like, I take over territories. And then people will look at you and be laughing, ha ha ha, take over territories in a small room in the village. He said, continue to say it. What you believe you become. Okay? So I'm just going to tell you guys to go forth, you know, go and be blessed, that you are a part of GETWORK Nigeria 2023 cohort, 2023 sets. There's a special blessing upon your life. If you can understand the principles of life, the principles of wealth, and the principles of relationships, more importantly, fellowship with God, there is nothing that you cannot achieve. And we will come back here to this group and you will share to other GETWORK attendees that will be joining you afterwards about how God transformed your life from all of the things that you took away from GETWORK Nigeria. Okay, so I love you all. Stay blessed, go forth and conquer territories. Okay, so put in the group, I am going forth to conquer territories. Let me see that. I am going forth to conquer territories. All right, take care, everyone.
You guys should unmute your mic and give Miss Y a standing ovation if possible. Unmute your
We
mic.
are standing. Thank you so much, ma.
Thank
you so much, ma. God bless you, ma. We really appreciate this wonderful section, ma.
To conquer territory.
All right. Thank you so much all for sticking in, because this is the longest session we've ever had since we started. It is worth it. That spiritual impartation, don't overlook it. It comes not just on the physical, it comes, that statement, those things she has said, they are spiritual impartation. You have not just learned the physical, you've not just learned the career and the jobs, skills and those things. You've also been spiritually imparted by this session. And I know that. You know, GETWORK Nigeria, like I said, is not an ordinary movement. It's not a movement for everybody. I can assure you that. And I want to tell you, this is the last session of this year, but this is the beginning of a totally new journey. I want you to hang in. Be there on our WhatsApp community. Some information will be shared as we move on, as we close the year and we start a new year. There's a lot coming on for 2024. It's going to be something that you've never had before. So please stay in and be participatory. Participate in the things we are doing. There were some plans I was going to roll out here. I can just give you in summary. From next year, you all here will be involved in our social media engagement. We'll be having podcasts, we'll be having social media live sessions, and we'll make you, we'll pair you as an host, something to improve your presentation skills. You will be involved. You will be like me. Oyinlola was one of us. She's been the one leading the section. She just finished her youth service. So it's something you can do. It's a talent you can develop. You can start from anywhere. You can start from that you've been exposed to. So I'm expecting you all here to be a volunteer for GETWORK Nigeria in our next session. And I believe that God has brought you here for this reason, and He will make you shine. He will make you shine. Thank you, everyone, for sticking in. Do have a beautiful weekend and a lovely new week. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Bye all.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
And you too. Good night.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Everyone.